This video I want to talk to you about charging fees. Now, if you've never charged a fee before, I'm just going to give you an outline of the types of fees that we charge and how we do it, and give you some ideas on what you can do to start doing that yourself for commercial and business transactions. So to begin with, two types of fees that we charge. One is a success fee, and that is usually where there's a very complex deal or an unsecured business purchase, for example. We might charge a success fee, or even an overdraft and a restructure, depending on the complexity. And by complexity, what I usually mean is not necessarily the facility. The facility, like an overdraft, might appear to be quite easy to get, but it's the work that you have to do to analyse the financials, to track back on multiple entities and put together a proposal for the client, which can take quite some time depending on how complex their structures are. Now, for the most part, many people will come to you and they'll just want to buy a commercial property, and you probably won't charge for that simply because they could go anywhere and get that. There's not a lot of specialised knowledge. I mean, you need to understand what you're doing, obviously. Or a development finance deal. Now, you might charge a success fee on development finance because in some cases you'll have to go to private funders or non-bank funders, and many of them don't pay commissions. So you've got to get used to the idea of charging a fee and then providing the client with the reasons for that fee and why you're charging and how much, etc. So the other fee that we charge aside from the success fee is an upfront fee. Now, the reason we charge an upfront fee for transactions is to cover some of the work and time. And the way I work that out is usually we look at what is a success fee, and then we take a percentage of that as the upfront fee. Now, when I first started charging fees, I'll give you the technique for how I charged. I charged $500 up front, and no one complained. So I started charging $1,000 up front, and no one complained. And then I got to $1,500, and no one complained. And I got to $2,000 up front, and then they started asking questions about why they were paying $2,000. And that's when I had to personally learn how to justify what the fee was for. So I'll take you back to that and take you through an exercise. I want you to think about every task that you perform to get a home loan approved. And if you sit down with pen and paper or on a spreadsheet or something, if you break down every task that you do, from the initial consultation to searching for the right product, understanding, a lot of this value is in your knowledge. So if someone comes to you for a home loan and they're a business owner, they've got 1 year's financials, their partner is a casual worker, they've got a 5% deposit, etc. If you can provide them with a solution, it's not just the tasks that you're doing, but it's the value that you're providing. Okay, this is about value, and that is achieving their goal. Business people understand that. They're certainly used to paying, and they're used to people charging because that's what they do in their lives. So it's not unusual for them to have paid or to be paying an upfront fee or a success fee, because it's kind of what they expect. In terms of the upfront fee, usually what we do is provide them with an engagement letter that sets out, this is what we're doing for you, this is how much we're charging you up front, this is what we're hoping to achieve. So we give them a range of products and services. So it might be unsecured loan at a range of interest rates, so between 6 and 7%, for example, with an application fee of 0.5%. And the engagement letter templates that I've given you set that out for you so that you can put those numbers in, and you're really giving them something concrete. It's not just a conversation, but it's an engagement letter that says, I'm going to go and do some work for you, and you're going to pay me to do that work if I achieve the goal that you need achieved. So usually what we put in is what I call a table of services. So again, getting back to the home loan and the tasks that you provide, just have a think about everything that you are going to have to do to get this loan approved. Every small task. And that includes liaison with solicitors. It includes conversations with banks. It includes analysing the financials to ensure that the business can pay for the loan that you're trying to achieve for them. It means talking to their accountants about different structures. It means putting together a credit memorandum. It means talking to a number of banks about that proposal, and then selecting the right offer for them and making a recommendation for them. It means attending to settlement inquiries and making sure that the settlement goes off without a hitch. And really, you as I say, a mortgage broker, already do all of this for your home loan clients. It's just that you don't charge a fee for it. And so from a value perspective, often it can get lost in terms of what you're really doing. I think mortgage brokers provide enormous value to their clients, which a lot of it's unsaid because you don't list out the 23 things that you do to get them from a home loan inquiry to settlement. But in business and commercial, I think you need to do that. You need to list out everything that you're going to do and you charge a fee for it. And once you write that down, once you determine what value you're providing, that's how you can become confident in relation to charging a fee. So you send through a letter, you decided the fee might be $1,500 up front, there's a success fee there of say $5,000. You can determine the success fee using the proposal fee calculator I've sent you. If you don't have that, let me know. But really that's a template or a guide for providing you with a breakdown of everything that you could be doing and then coming up with a fee. How have I worked that out? Well, you need to work out what your hourly rate is, what you're worth. If you think about accountants and lawyers, other professionals, they charge an hourly fee usually, and based on their knowledge, experience, their expertise, and that's what you're doing as well. What you're saying to this business person is, hey, I know what I'm doing. You can go to someone for free if you like, and here's a conversation I've had and did have at the start with clients is, well, how come you charge a fee but this other broker doesn't? And very bluntly, it's because I know what I'm doing. And you can put that in a nice way, or you can say it exactly like that. And you say, well, look, the guy who's not charging, to be honest, I'm not sure that they do know what they're doing, because otherwise they would be able to articulate exactly what they're doing, where they're going, and the value they're providing. And that's what I'm doing for you. And I know I can get this loan done for you, notwithstanding things that are beyond my control, like valuations and credit reports, etc. But I know where to go to get it, and you won't waste 6 weeks of your time running around to different banks, trying to find this money. And that's where you can bring up examples. So, for example, if someone came to me for a business purchase, an unsecured business purchase, something which I've mentioned before, for example, using banks like ANZ, NAB, etc. You can tell very quickly if it's an unsecured loan, it's probably not going to be Bank of Melbourne or Westpac or whatever that does that loan. And you can say to the client, look, there's only 3 banks that are going to do this loan for you. You're already telling them or showing them that you have value and expertise because you've cancelled out most of the others that they were talking about. In many cases, you'll find that a client says, oh, look, I'm going to this bank, this is our bank, but can you have a look at some others? Well, you can tell them they're not going to do that loan. And I can tell you that because I know what I'm talking about, and that's why I'm charging you a fee, is to cover some of my time and cost in case this doesn't go through. And these are the 23 things that I've done or are going to do. And if the loan doesn't go through for something I cannot control, I need to recover a portion of my time and cost in doing that for you. And when you say that confidently, I've yet to find someone who doesn't want to pay the fee or doesn't go ahead with us once we've established the value and the tasks that we're performing for them, or that you're going to perform for them. So it's about being confident about providing the value to them, and it's about breaking down the tasks. Because I've always thought about it this way. If someone's at a barbecue and they're talking to someone else and they say, oh, our broker's charging us a fee, and their friend says, oh, what? What are they charging that fee for? If you've already told them those 23 things, they can articulate that to their friend, and that's when people feel better about themselves because they're certain that they've made the right decision. And that's where a lot of people hesitate, is they're not certain enough, and because you haven't provided them with the list of things that you're going to do for them to give them certainty to answer questions to their partner or their friend or someone else. In their own mind, they may have just made that decision and thought, well, this person seems okay, seems to know what they're doing, they're charging a fee, I think I'll go ahead with them. But when they have to articulate it to someone else, that's when it becomes important that they are certain they're doing the right thing by paying you a fee. So just to recap, in terms of upfront fees, look, in most cases, we wouldn't charge more than 2 to 2.5. We've charged $10,000 for very upfront for very complex loans, but to be honest, they don't come along every month, and often with larger loans, then you'll get to pay the commission because you'll be going to a bank. The way that I structure different applications and fees, as I said, commercial property purchase probably wouldn't charge a fee. Unsecured business or unsecured overdraft probably will charge a fee. an upfront and a success fee. And sometimes what we've done is we've said, well, okay, we're going to charge you a fee of say 1% of the loan amount, but if we're paid 0.5 by a bank, then we'll only charge you 0.5. So they know across the board what their costs are up front. It's really horses for courses. It depends on whether or not you think you need to lock in this client. And I'd encourage you to use an engagement letter with every business opportunity, even commercial purchases. Even if you're not charging a fee, just engage the client. A client signing a letter saying that you are now working for them or on their behalf, really commits them to the deal. And some of you might have thought about, and I know there's been a lot of talk previously about charging commitment fees on home loans. Some may already do that, where you charge $500 up front and give it back to them at settlement, that sort of thing. Signing a proposal and or paying a fee ensures that that client stays with you. Because if you think about this, in terms of home loans and applications, for people who are buying their first home, you might find that they'll stick with you because they really maybe don't know what they're doing. With business people who've been around a while, they just want the money. And often you'll find that if they haven't committed fully to you, you might find you get to the end of the transaction and they've found the loan from someone else, even through another commercial broker. So don't delay in engaging a client. Articulate everything that you're doing for them and the value that you're providing, and then charge your fee accordingly. Use the fee proposal calculator if you like, and we can talk about that on a one-on-one session over the phone. I'm happy to discuss that with anyone about how to structure a fee. But make sure that you engage them even if there is no fee. Secondly, get the upfront fee paid to you before you start work, because what you don't want to do is have that engagement proposal out there, you've started doing the work, and they don't sign it and don't pay the fee, because you've just wasted all of your time, really. And then with a success fee, just make sure that that success fee is paid by the client's lawyer at settlement, and you're not trying to get it out of the bank, because it's likely the bank won't pay that fee on your behalf or to you from settlement funds. So either the client needs to pay you on settlement, or ideally their solicitor, and part of the engagement needs to be that you may request the invoice be paid by their solicitor at the time of drawdown. Once they've settled the deal, it's very difficult to get paid, because the immediate need is completed or finished with, and that at that point they may start to think, well, this cost me more than I thought, and I had to pay extra fees, and why am I paying you? And all of a sudden that value that you were creating starts to be diminished. Okay, so that's the video on charging fees. If you've got any questions, please email me or give me a call anytime.